Hey, everybody. Welcome to a Monday evening here on the Comic Art Live channel. We haven't done one of these in a long time, but we've got a good show for you planned tonight. We've got I think around 40 pieces we're going to preview for the upcoming June signature auction from Heritage Auctions. And I've got Joe Mannarino who'll be joining me today. We're having a fun conversation prior to the show getting started. I'm sure we'll carry that over into the show this evening. So let me welcome Joe to the show. How you doing,
Hello,
Joe?
everyone.
We are we're all recovering from the Heroes weekend, of course. That was last weekend. I got to see Barry while I was there. He seemed to be having a good time. But yeah, and you yourself, you just spent literally a month overseas practically, right? I mean, what were you doing over there?
I originally we went to begin because there's a new show. You know, they used to have Reed used to put on the same people that put on the New York Comic Con had a Paris Comic Con, and it was
Yes.
extremely successful. And then during COVID, they decided to end it. Well, a new company came and started a new show, and they invited us to attend. And so I promised them I would. So that's why we went when we did. And then I had to meet some people afterward. I didn't want to stay. It was too long a gap to go from there to Lake Como, but Lake Como I heard was great. We sent Olivier, and he said it was a great show as well.
Did you get to see Olivier while you were overseas?
Oh yeah, a couple of times, yes,
Yeah,
several times I should say. Oh yeah.
that's good. Yeah, I saw photos of Olivier at Lake Como too. So Heritage is well represented in Europe over the last
Oh yeah,
30
and he
40
also went to Abu Dhabi. He did a show in Switzerland. He did a show in Barcelona. Uh, there's a lot of stuff going on worldwide.
Sounds like you may need an extra international auction if things continue as they are, if he stays that busy.
It's true.
But yeah, we were talking about gallery exhibitions and things that we were both knowledgeable about. But tell us about that Pompidou exhibition. I think that sounds really interesting, and I'm going to have to look it up when the show's over because I'm not familiar with it.
The Pompidou Center is the Museum of Modern Art of France. So it is the biggest and most prestigious, if modern art museum, if not in France and in all of Europe. I mean, it is just international renown. And they decided to have a comic art exhibit interspersed with their fine art. So this is really unique and could take things to a whole different level. I mean, they had comic book art, they had underground art, they have comic strip art, a wonderful array of material. It's going on right now. The opening was probably 3 weeks ago, I want to say, somewhere in that realm. But that could be a game changer.
Yeah, that's really interesting. We need to get more of those sorts of things happening here in the States. I mean, slowly we're seeing small exhibitions here and there, but
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that sounds. I mean, it sounds like just what we need. So
Oh, no, yeah, and we have a stepping stone towards that. The Norman Rockwell Museum in Stockbridge. Right now, I just went. Nadia and I went to the opening this past, not yesterday, but the weekend before, and they have the biggest exhibit of Mad artwork that's ever been done. It was absolutely great, and again, they intersperse the Mad artwork while they have dedicated spaces. They also have the Mad artwork up, and I mean, it was stunning. So you have the Norman Rockwell self portrait, the most famous, probably Rockwell, right next to the Mingo. I mean, the Alfred E. Newman self portrait
exactly.
next to it. It's really, and they did a great job. I mean, they had a comedian, they had dancing, they had live entertainment, they had free alcohol, free food. Every living artist that that was with Mad, along with John Ficcaro and Sam Viviano, editors and writers, all were there. I mean, it's really, and I noticed that they did a couple of YouTube previews. So if you want to look them up, they're great. But I would, Stockbridge is in the Berkshires is a beautiful, picturesque. I mean, if you see a Norman Rockwell painting, it's that he lived there, worked there, died there, and that is reminiscent of what you see, and it's still exactly the way it was.
Mhm.
So it's a nice, vacation if you could take it.
I have always wanted to go to the Rockwell Museum. I can tell you that I've never had the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I another thing to put on my bucket list next time I'm up that way.
And by the way, let me wish everyone, where it's appropriate, a happy Father's Day. I hope you had a great one this past yesterday, and I enjoyed myself. My grandkids said that they're going to be staying up, so hello to the grandkids. And first day of summer as well, so we're off to a great start.
That's true. Thank you. Happy Father's Day to you. I got home from Heroes yesterday, and I got to sit down to dinner. I had a few cards in front of me for Father's Day. My daughters were with me, and yeah, it was definitely a good time.
Nice.
So we have a fair amount of work, artworks to look at tonight. I got my catalogs in the mail mid last week. Got to go through those. I'd seen the previews, of course, up on the website. So another very interesting, set of lots this time around. We have a lot of artwork from Roger Hill collection, which I think is definitely worth noting. Roger, I know he passed at the end of last year, and I mean, or maybe it was just at the beginning of this year. I remember his memorial was the weekend of OEX. We had a lot of people that weren't able to attend because they were going to that. But Roger, is incredibly important figure in the worlds of comics and comic art collecting, and now works from his collection are going to be auctioned off in this signature auction. I mean, did you know Roger pretty well?
Yes, I knew Roger going back probably 40 years. Just a few words about Roger. He and I collected very different things. Not that I didn't like horror to some degree and sci-fi to some degree, but Roger was horror, hardcore horror, EC, sci-fi, and related material to that, and it wasn't enough for him to just collect it. I mean, he was a true historian, one of the earliest guys that really, along with Jerry Wiest, his childhood friend, they started, one of the first fanzines. They sought out artists. They sought out Bill Gaines. They went to visit these people. They, Ray Bradbury. I could go on and on and on. And 40 years later, Roger was still involved with writing articles and helping along fandom. He was very generous with his time. You talk to him, and the biggest compliment I could say to Roger is he called me about something, like he was working on the Reed Crandall book, and my the people I knew, the same type of people, and he was asking me some questions. But anything you brought up, Joe. I mean, he had that same sense of wonder all these years later about the material that he had from the very beginning, from when I first met him. So, he's a very passionate collector, unbelievably knowledgeable, very giving of his time. He was a gentleman. That's all I could say.
Well, seeing his, and I never got to see his collection, obviously, but I knew what his focuses were. So it's really cool to see his work, presented and with the beautiful scans that you guys have on the site, just to see some of these, like you said, the Black Cat piece that we're going to look at first, and a few other pieces from his collection. I mean, obviously he had a great eye and a great appreciation for the medium, and he came in at the right time too, right? Right at the beginning, and I think he definitely was a trendsetter, and like you said, he he contributed to many different periodicals in different ways, and it definitely advanced our hobby in ways that I think will impact us for a long time. So it's
Yeah. And I would be, if it's any indication, I just tried to send a couple of catalogs to somebody through the company, and they are sold out of this auction, and everybody's requesting this Roger Hill. And if you have not seen it, there's a tremendous write up on him by Todd Hignite. But in addition, we're not even going to go there, but Roger collected the logos, I mean, he got in touch with every one of these. He knew, Johnny Craig and Ingalls and on and on and on. And he got special things from each of them. He got things from EC. So he has some of the first fanzines ever done. He's got artwork from, you name it. Now, some of these things are not, six-figure items, but they're incredibly unique, and they've never been out. I never saw it, half of the stuff. So, and I know when all the years I was offering stuff, I mean, Roger was he would buy, but he'd only buy the best of the best. And so I can spare 3 of these. So we'll do the same thing we did last time. The first 3 people that write to Nadia, Nadia M at ha.com, we'll send you one of our Roger Hill catalogs.
There you go. That's #1 Marvel fan said he didn't get any catalogs this time around. So Tom, you can go and email Nadia right now and get a copy for yourself. Don't delay. There's only 3 of the Roger Hill catalogs.
Last time they went really quick when we offered a chance for the.
Now, I assume you have to be a regular bidder buyer to get on the regular list with Heritage to get those?
Yeah, you either have to be a consigner to the sale, or you have to be a regular bidder. I don't even remember what the threshold is, but yeah, and we send out less catalogs than we used to because so many people do it online, so they're becoming scarcer and more collectible.
There you go. Well, like I say, I got mine. I'm happy to have them. I never throw them out. I've got a few boxes of them in my closet. So yeah. Well, why don't we just jump in and start looking at some of the artwork, because like I say, we've got a fair number of pieces to see today.
Okay.
And
let me cover 2 things quick that we normally
Sure.
do. Is the first day of the auction is Thursday, which is going to be. Remember, we have a new format. The way it used to be is we used to have Platinum Night that had both comics and comic art, and then we would go into comic books on the same night, which meant comic art collectors would have to come in the first day and then again the second day. Now, the first day is Platinum Comics and then comics. So all day Thursday is comics. All day Friday is Platinum comic art, and then regular comic, floor comic art, and then again on Sunday. So the start time is 12 p.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. You could go according to that. You often ask me about themes in this particular auction. Obviously, it's the Roger Hill collection is #1. We still have some great pieces from David Mandel and some great pieces from Tom Palmer Estate. So those are just 3 of the highlights as far as collections in general. You could do a search by those names, and you can get all of the items come up.
Is there stuff from Dennis Kitchen in there? Because I've seen his pieces in the weekly auctions still kind of coming out regularly.
I did not notice. I didn't do a search of Dennis in this sale of floor items, so I didn't take note of any, but it wouldn't surprise me if there weren't, because like you say, we are offering things in the weeklies.
Yeah. Well, that's fun to see. I mean, honestly, Dennis is an interesting interview.
Again, another historic collection for sure.
Yeah.
Gratefully done while he's still here to see us do it.
That is very true. I hope we've emailed about following up on some further discussions and live streams, just kind of focusing in on certain artists that he's had the pleasure to work with, whether we do a show specifically on Robert Crumb or maybe a few different periods of kitchen sinks history. But yeah, he's definitely interested in doing those. We just have to find the time to squeeze them into both of our schedules.
Yeah, Dennis is a good guy.
Yeah. So here we can talk about this beautiful. I use that, and I mean that sincerely. White Heat Black Cat cover. I mean, how cool is this?
Yeah, this is considered one of the all-time classic horror covers. Obviously, it touches upon the Cold War, the fear of the atomic bomb, a nuclear accident happening here, and the person is, his face is literally burned off, which just, heightened the terror in, anybody during that period of time. So truly a horror classic. The comic book over the past few years has been, in any condition, one of the most sought after and in demand comics. So to see the comic book art come out of the cover is unbelievable. One of the only, we have too many items to cover to go into too many stories, but quick one here. This cover and several of the other great horror covers came out of the Harvey warehouse, which I was involved with getting back in the 80s. And you say that he was involved early on, but let me tell you, nobody knew that that Harvey was going to go out of business. And next thing you know, it's a long story, but that everything was in their warehouse from the very beginning of Harvey Comics, and the building was literally being torn down. So it gets taken out, and next thing you know, the heirs are trying to sell the material, and it gets sold. And in the end, Steve Jeppy gets the comic book art, and a few of us had the chance to get first crack at some of the stuff. Roger Hill found out about this so quickly and immediately went to Baltimore and went through. I am talking about a gigantic, I mean, like a 50-foot pile of art, not stacked neatly, just literally a warehouse full of stuff, going through to find the stuff that he knew, had been published and that he had admired. And that's how he got the stuff. So that's not the 60s, not the 70s. This is around 1983, 85, in that realm. But that's what I mean about having taste. He went in and he got the ones that he wanted, and there was no turning back. And that's the way he collected EC art as well, and the best of the best.
Right. This is Lee Elias, for if you didn't, for those in the audience who didn't know, Lee Elias is one of my favorite artists from this era, and yeah, and this piece and the next piece are both by Lee, but just amazing artist. Whether he's working on war stories or horror stories, I mean, I have yet to own a piece by Lee. One day I will. I wouldn't mind owning a Black Cat page, to be honest with you, but that or a really nice war page would do fine for me. But,
he was heavily influenced by Milton Caniff. I mean, he could do Caniff as well as Caniff could. That's why he got a lot of the jobs of like realistic people rather than superheroes in costume, and that's why he was perfectly suited. The interesting part is this is credited to Warren Kremer. And Warren Kremer is an interesting guy. He was the guy that worked on, like very early on, Casper the Friendly Ghost. But he was the primary artist on Richie Rich, did almost all of anything of consequence. Richie Rich, Stumbo, a lot of those kind of characters. But what people don't know, prior to that, when the horror stuff was going on, he could do horror as well as anyone. So this for years was attributed to Kremer, but if you look at it, it's clearly Lee Elias. Yeah, and this Black Cat, this was the title of Black Cat, which issues 1 through 30 featured the Black Cat, the female heroine, And while 29 and 30 started to transition a little, she was still on the cover, but it wasn't until 31 that they switched to 100% of horror. So this is, issue 50 when they really had it pegged.
And Leah Elias's artwork is still fairly affordable, which is nice. I mean, even his Black Cat work, you can still get decent pages at a price that's not going to break the bank. So I mean, again, and an artist I really admire, and I do need to get something into my collection at some point by them.
Yeah, I mean, I think this cover is going to. It wouldn't surprise me if this goes well over $500,000.
Right, and I didn't look at it, but I know that it was at 100,000 when I pulled up the slides earlier. So it's on. It just shows you how significant it is.
Yeah. So I just took another one just as an example of another Harvey, which again, he had all the best Harvey horror covers. So Chamber of Chills, this was actually Blondie Comics before it turned into a horror comic with issue 21. Then they finally reset it after issue 24 to #1 and up. But this is, again, one of the classic, Harvey horror comics.
Agreed. And romance comics were just right around the corner after covers like these, right? I mean, but yeah, no, this is awesome, and yeah, no, another good one here, and this one's at like 25 right now, I think. So yeah. Now this was Graham Ingalls.
Yeah,
this one's really cool.
Considered one of the best Graham Ingalls covers. A classic. This is from EC, of course. This is 1952. The other one's for 54, just before everything, fell apart when it came to horror and everything else. But yeah, there's not much I could say beyond the fact that this is one of the absolute top Ingalls EC covers. And in my opinion, Ingalls was, when it came to horror, the top EC artist. While Johnny Craig and the other ones did great work, it was Ingalls' stylized work that really shone through. And by the way, in the catalog, the original, those three ghouls are always pasted on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Roger has the original art to those as well as the logo, in many cases, the art to several of the logos.
Well, Roger was a completist, right? I mean, if it was out there and he could get it, yeah, that's awesome. Well, this is great to see. Again, these are I love this era of cover with I mean, horror is my, after the spandex. I mean, definitely horror was always my favorite genre growing up. But these are amazing.
Yeah. These are all museum pieces that we've seen up till now and later. So let's switch over to something a little bit more recognizable, which is a page from Spider-Man 10. This page was owned by a very well-known collector. His estate did not give me permission to release his name, but he was a good friend. He passed away. I sold him several great pieces, sadly, and three of the best pieces from his collection are in this sale. I'll talk about the other ones as they come up as well. But I mean, this was a great Spider-Man page, 9-panel page, action in every page, every panel, I should say, 9 dynamic panels, very cinematic. I was just watching something about John Byrne a few days ago, and where he saw pages like this by both Ditko and Kirby, and then did an homage to that with the 9-panel action, the pages going from left to action, going from left to right, then back down, and then across again, and So this is a very iconic page, one of the best pages without a question in the book.
Yes, it's from issue 10, page 10.
Yeah, and he's battling all three,
Mm-hmm.
Fancy Dan, Ox, and Montana in the page.
Yes, it's great, and it's what are we at? 67 already. But yeah, this is I don't know. To me, the 9-panel or just a straight up 4-panel page are just my favorite. As far as layout, I think that they're so complex to do right, but so many creators when they got it, they just Kirby could do a 4-panel layout on a page like nobody, right?
Exactly.
It does a great job here. Then we got some Frank Miller, Klaus Janson, Daredevil 165 cover.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's hotter than Frank Miller and Daredevil, and so we have a cover. This is the earliest cover we've ever auctioned out of the Daredevil run. First time this has been available to the public. He'd only worked on at Marvel for a little over a year when he did this cover, and it's Daredevil fighting Doctor Octopus, right? Yep, and it's a great cinematic cover as well. I mean, a beautiful layout.
Yeah, it is. No, I remember picking this one up at the newsstand. So yeah, this kind of stuff just these pages are so nostalgic for me. I mean, Miller, you knew he was special when he was working on Daredevil, and that early on though. But he and Jansen together were just magic, and this is fantastic.
Who knew he was going to change the face of comics? I mean, he really turned it into, I mean, he went from Daredevil and the storylines and the art to the gritty, real world, Shadow Escudo kind of, sensibility that affected everybody after that. I mean, there was no going back.
Yeah, so true. But well, congrats on having this one in the auction. It's going to do really well.
Yeah, how much is this? This has to be already over 60,000, I guess.
Yeah, 72 and a half.
Yeah,
87 with the buyer's premium, so we might as well just say 87. But yeah, no, of course it's fantastic, and you really get 4 Daredevils on there at the end of the day. So that's pretty good. Let's see, what do we got next? I mean, a Watchmen page, and a good one at that.
Exactly.
Wow.
Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons, Night Owl, Silk Spectre. They're in the Owl ship trying to save some people trapped in a burning building, but it's a beautifully drawn page. Really evokes the feeling that you get from the whole Watchmen series. They don't come up anymore, and really, really sought after pages.
Yeah, and this one's at 31 with the buyer's premium so far. But yeah, I mean, most of the time these the good pages are all going in the they could be anywhere between 70 to 100 at this point. And you figure even before the pandemic they were still sought after, and at that point they were 25 to 50. It's just it's amazing the market on these things. If you got any of them in costume or pages like this, they're always in high demand. Everybody wants one.
Yeah. Everybody feels they need, if you're going to create a great collection, you need an example. There's no doubt about it.
That means I'm never going to have a great collection as much as I want one. Yeah, they're out of my league right now.
You got to get the next thing, the next great thing. That's the secret to it all.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I mean, we can all appreciate it. And yeah, I've certainly seen enough. I mean, I have a few friends who have a few pages, and so I've gotten to see them. I mean, they're just remarkable. I mean, because this is a book that many of us have read and reread numerous times because it's so good. So when you see the images, the original art, it's it takes your breath away. the end of the
Yeah,
day.
plus it was, I mean, it really is a harbinger of things to come where, it's a 12-part series, but because it became a graphic novel. And next thing you know, it's a classic, that's on the shelves everywhere all the time. So it's, The Killing Joke, Watchmen, Dark Knight, and a few others like that. And, they're still some of the biggest sellers every single year.
Yeah, very true. And again, I saw Marcus say even Marvel guys want a page. It's true. I'm a Marvel guy, but yeah, I'd love to have a page from this run. Almost anything, and I'd be happy.
Yeah, this transcends Marvel DC.
I'd even take a Killing Joke page, and but to me, this would be the book I'd want to get something from DC, from the modern era. But it's kind of amazing when you name those, like, naming those three stories. It's funny that DC has those kind of marquee titles, right? I mean, along with Dark Knight, it's interesting because DC tends to, in certain terms of value, always seems to lag behind Marvel on regular daily sales, but then they have these marquee stories that that I can't say. You can't look at Marvel and say they did similar things, and it's probably all about the timing, the era that those books were coming out, and the focus that DC had at that time to really produce some incredible work that was memorable to everyone.
Well, I mean, listen, sometimes until, that's capitalism. Until without competition, there is no innovation. So here's Marvel is finally kicking DC's butt at that part. They bring in Jeanette Kahn, and she wants to go in, give a different direction. Not quite sure where, but brings in Marvel's top guys, their own, and says, "What do you want to do?" And brings in top writers, top artists, and gives them the freedom to do whatever they wanted to do. And as a result, you got something new, something exciting, and then you say, "Well, how did that happen when Marvel was at?" Because Marvel was kind of sitting on their laurels at that point. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got the chance to do it. I was watching a thing about Joe Mannarino, and he was talking about how his dream job was to get X-Men, but then he always wanted to do fantasy and something different, something a little bit more uh, grounded. So they wouldn't give him. Marvel wouldn't give him. Conan was taken, so that was the only Marvel title that applied. So that's why he quit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts working on his own stuff, and next thing you know, it's the number one book. So if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't. It wouldn't have happened.
True. Yeah. No, Marvel had a series of failures with some of their best creators. That's for sure. Uh, but not with this guy. That was Bermuda Senior.
Yeah.
They made sure to keep him busy and happy. So we have a page from Spider-Man 50, the first Kingpin story.
It's not only the first Kingpin story. We were always teased with this, unknown head of the crime in the city, and we never saw his face, right? And he was always working behind the scenes, and they always did the back shots and everything else. This is the page where he turns around for the first time. So this is the first time we actually see Kingpin.
Oh, it's fantastic. And it's at 162 with the buyer's premium right now too. Amazing.
And while people tell me, hey, I'm not into this, first appearance, and it doesn't matter whether you're into it or not, that doesn't change its importance. So to the people, that there's plenty of people who do want that, because in the end, these are the these are the pieces of history that people will always point back to.
Yeah, no, it's a great page from a classic book. Everybody remembers the cover to issue 50.
Yeah.
How can you not? All right. Well, let's see. What do we got next here? An Uncanny X-Men cover, no less, and from John Romita Jr.'s run. He was never one of, when I was reading them. I mean, and I kind of ended my I stopped buying comics about a year after this book came out, right before X-Men 200. But I had a gap of like 8 or 9 years. But I always thought his work was okay, but I really appreciate it so much more now. And you got this one. It's inked by Dan Green. So what is this, 85? So it's pretty amazing to see.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be angry at me. I mean, this auction has like 1,600 lots. It has examples of just about everything you want to see. So it was impossible to select, enough things to make everybody happy. So I went again by, highest value, and then most popular bid views, and tracking and stuff like that. But John Romita Jr., like, this is in 8th place. That's where he is right now. Like, he's become one of the most. We sell a cover for $200,000. He is now getting the recognition, and about him, he was very much into the design and the layouts, and he was always trying to be innovative and never be boring, and he never shortchanged his audience. And a lot of the things he worked on have now become important, but people have a whole new sense of appreciation of his work, and it's going for a ton of money. I mean, this cover, you got the Black Queen, Selene, Rachel Summers, that's part of the Days of Future Past timeline. As Magneto attacks, you have floating heads of Professor X, Colossus, and Rogue. I mean, and again, he did that in an uninked fashion, so that it's pretty unique. So it's a great layout.
Agreed. Yeah, I'll be curious to see where it ends up. It's at 33,600 right now.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing like one of these, not every signature auction, but the Barry Windsor Smith MCP pages are seem to be represented in a lot of the big auctions of the last few years. And so
a couple of guys had some of the pages and have basically been letting them go because the material's gotten to a new level. I mean, look. Bernie Wrightson had his Frankenstein period, and this was, Barry Smith's, where the super detailed, nothing is left out of any panel in the book. And here you have one of the best. It's a splash panel that is striking and terrifying at the same time. Talk about kind of a horror book. This is the origin of Wolverine's adamantium skeleton, and this is chapter 6. Again, this is in the like a limited edition series featuring Wolverine that later became part of a great graphic novel.
Yeah, it's a fantastic page. What's it at? It's 21 and a half.
Yeah. I expect that to do significantly more.
I agree. And then what was this for? It's obviously it's Brian Mullen, but it says USA Magazine 36 cover.
He originally did this to be used in a European magazine, comic, and then so it was done in black and white, and then he did a painted version of the same thing, which appeared in the French magazine USA number 36. Um, so this is the artwork that was used to produce the painting. So it's Brian Boland doing the Joker, which is extremely hot. I feel like almost every auction I got to feature a Brian Boland piece because he's so hot and in demand. Yeah, it's one thing even here, but internationally, it's like Watchmen and several of the other things. There, the crossover is enormous.
So I didn't see the like the color image there from the USA magazine. Okay.
Yeah.
So that one's only at 6 with the buyer's premium right now, but yeah, that will definitely change. And we have a Murphy Anderson Hawkman 10 cover.
Yeah, this is the same collector who had the Spider-Man 10, so you could see that he had impeccable taste. I sold him this cover back in the day. I think we got this cover during Christie's originally, and this was always considered one of the best Hawkman covers. Classic image, full figure, flying by, the whole bit. So, once again, it's early, it's historic, it's 1965, it's a great cover, it's classic Murphy Anderson.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Those very interesting weapons.
Yeah, it looks like somebody said it looks like a menorah gun.
Exactly. A lot of power behind that one. But no, it's great. It's a great image. Of course it is. I know there's a few Hawkman fans out there in the audience, so yeah, I'm sure they'll at least be watching this one.
Yeah.
One of these days for me, I want to get a Joe Kubert page with Hawkman. That's on my wish list. Again, it's me crossing over to DC because it's just that's an era, an artist on a character that I've always wanted something from. So, but this is
Joe
beautiful.
Kubert was another one of the class. He's one of those guys that had a unique line. There are people who appreciate. I like guys that have a unique line. Steve Ditko had a unique line. Robert Crumb had a unique line. Joe Kubert had a unique line. There are some artists that are that way, and their work is instantly recognizable and unique.
Agreed. And this is Miller again on here. So we've got a Dark Knight Returns 2-page.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. Of course.
Yeah, you got Batman in the final couple of panels, and really, really nice continuity. I mean, this is very typical of the whole, series with, you're seeing things through the news. You have, the new Robin, Carrie Kelly. She's in costume as the new Robin. And you got Batman. So it's an outstanding Dark Knight page from issue number 2. And again, they don't turn up that much. We've had a few in recent auctions, but you'll see this is the kind of thing that once they're done, they won't show up again for years.
Yeah, this one's at 60,000 with the buyer's premium. And Wally Wood, of course, on Daredevil.
Yeah.
That's nice. We've seen a few of these pages come up over the last few years as well from early issues of Daredevil, but they're always so nice to see. I mean,
these were never on the market. These were returned to a particular artist, and that's why you never saw Wally Wood, Daredevil pages years ago. But that's why they're starting to appear on the market a little at a time. But now it's been quite a few, so I don't know how many more are going to be left. Because obviously, he didn't do many issues, so
Marcus is asking what that machine is in the middle panel. Yeah, we haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Yeah, the millennials.
But
They
yeah,
think that's a
great.
toaster.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, right. You got that right, Marcus. But great page. And and this is of course from Uncanny X-Men 129. You know, Kitty Pryde and John Byrne, Terry Austin art. I mean, Kiss poster on the wall with Anna Kermit one too. I mean, what more can you ask for from this era? But yeah, this thing's awesome. You know, I love Byrne, Austin, Uncanny X-Men.
Well, you always like to discuss this. Go ahead. You could.
I know I am. I'm like, you know, as a team, this is what you know. We all of us young guys who are reading X-Men. You know, we needed a girl our age to join the team, give us another reason to make sure we didn't miss any issue of the book. And this one was just great. It's like her discovering her power. She goes to sleep in her room, wakes up on the floor, downstairs. There was a lot of intrigue, about who this character was, and they were, for me, at this point, what year was this? This is
1980.
This is an 80. See, again, like I said, teenager. I was a young lad at this point, but 12 years old. But anyways, great stuff. I every time an Uncanny page comes up that you haven't seen in a while, I always I'm just always kind of curious, where it's going to wind up as far as the dollar amount, and but it's just so great to see, because they're also, every page from their run, Claremont, Byrne, Austin, is so nostalgic for many of us that were picking up these books off the newsstand. So yeah, this is awesome.
This is the page right after you is the first the first appearance of Kitty is the page before. The first time you ever see her. So this is the second time you ever see Kitty Pryde. And the third page featuring Emma Frost. And we're also in this page introduced to the White Queen of the Hellfire Club. So this also gives you kind of a clue when you read the page as to Kitty's mutant powers. And after she finds out she can phase. So it's a really nice developmental page.
Agreed. She was 13 and a half. See, I'm reading through the page while we're going here. So yeah, that's awesome. And then what do we have? Buscema Synod, FF 123 title page, Kid Galactus, Reed, and yeah, another great piece. And this one, This World Enslaved. This is one of a lot of people's favorite storylines for FF, and really, really cool.
Yeah, this is the page where, even though it's page one, it's where Reed turns the tables on Galactus. He's now inside the ship. So he threatens to destroy Galactus's home. So he turns the table on him, and that's what manages to finally save the Earth. And in the page is the Thing and Silver Surfer as well.
I missed him there, but I see him now. Yeah.
So there's not many pages where you have a full page, splash, and you have Galactus, Thing, and Silver Surfer, and Reed. So yeah, it's a beautifully drawn page. It's Synod Inks. Classic storyline, early enough, FF 123. So it's a really, really good page.
Where are we at on that one? Just under 30. Yeah, it's a good one. I've always wanted a Buscema FF page. It'll be an interior page, not a splash, not a cover, not a title page. But one day I will own one. There's some certain things that I look at and I'm like, I know I'll get one day, and something from that run will end up in my collection. I mean, it just basically it has to. I'm going to will it to happen sometime in the next 4 or 5 years.
That's it.
Yeah. So what do we got here? We have another Frank Miller piece. This is from Secret Years 2, and a very memorable cover. I picked these up because of Miller's work. So this is just to see his stuff on the cover was great. And I think
Yeah,
I
and this is Mandel from the Mandel collection. You
got,
know, David has great taste, and so this one hasn't been out and about. So again, we get an opportunity here that we never had. Uh, really gritty portrayal of Superman is done by Miller, which is kind of is going to foreshadow the way he's going to draw him in the Dark Knight.
yeah, no, I agree. Tony says Miller's cover run for this Soups Limited series were very underrated, and I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, they were. But again, as a Marvel reader, even back then, I picked them up because Miller's covers, it was a continuation of what I love for Marvel, and I see him doing his work over there. I was forced as a young guy to pick these up. So yeah, that's and again, this is '85. So very nice, and it comes from Mandel's collection. There's a pedigree there, and then we have what do we have? This is from 188.
And again, this is from David's collection as well. And again, it's Miller. But look at this page. I mean, this is a great action page.
Yeah, one of my great regrets in life was not picking up a Daredevil page from Dave Mandel in the early 2000s when I asked him about it at San Diego, and he told me he had a few pages with him, but they were expensive. They were going to be around $2,500, $3,000, but he had Burn X-Men pages, and those were even more. Those were 4 or 5, and I think I actually got a Burn page. But I look back on that, and I wish I had considered picking up a Frank Miller, because I've never owned anything by Frank, especially from the Daredevil run, and look how times have changed. I mean, this is over 20 with the buyer's premium, I imagine. Yeah, 21. Yeah, these are so classic. I mean, even though this is late in the run, it's still just absolutely amazing. Those first 3 panels are fantastic, and you get some Zipperstone there in the last panel too. Love it.
Well, this is where he was knocked out and recuperating in the isolation chamber, and Stick is making quick work of it's a ninja battle basically, and they're out to get them, and Daredevil wakes up and says, what happened? Basically.
Yeah, no, this is great. Man, Dave had a good eye all the way back. Back then it was always Dave was one of those. I mean, there were many celebrity art collectors, before Dave, but when I came into the hobby, Dave was the guy. He had the eye. He had just great pieces in his collection, and a lot, right? He didn't have 5 or 8 Daredevil Miller pages. He knew he had 20 or 30. You know what I mean? It's just like he knew what he loved.
When he came in, he made it clear. He had certain things that he really liked. I mean, number one was Miller, Daredevil, and Frank Miller. Period. Especially Miller on Miller. But then he also loved Byrne and several. He came over my house, and he picked out a stack of things, and I said, that's going to be. I mean, he had great taste. He wanted this, and this, and period. And he stepped up when other people didn't. That it wasn't that popular at one point. And
oh, I know. I just feel lucky that I was around early enough when things were at those levels, and it still felt out of reach, right? But it was still fun to see things at that level, like early. That's kind of the period in my collecting where even Mignola was still fairly affordable. The Hellboy pages that were out there, but the people who had them wouldn't let them go. So not a lot's changed in 22, 23 years.
No, you got to do. Hey, we've talked about it before. The only time there are regrets is it's always the things you didn't get. You know what I
Mm.
mean? That's
So what we got here? We have a Wolverine 7 cover from
yeah.
'89. You know, uh, everybody. You know, I mean, the way Buscema drew Wolverine was so darn cool, and you know, this is just a great image. You get a great battle scene like this, and so many characters. I love the way they, you know, threw some of the characters over the logo, put other ones behind them. I mean, it's just a well thought out cover design, and yeah, this is a beauty.
I like the way he drew the Hulk as well. You know,
Yeah.
that grittier Hulk, almost like a Frankenstein monster, and then Karma in the middle. So you get all of these characters. It's a beautiful, really well designed cover. Ton of figures, beautiful contrast. I mean, this thing would look great on the wall. Obviously, it's a really really nice cover. No doubt about it.
Yeah, it looks like some glue stains over the Hulk or something, right? Maybe it was maybe something that was over that at some point, or hard to say. I guess
I didn't notice anything in the description, but if you click
yeah,
on,
I didn't either. Yeah, who knows, right? It's definitely not there now. Whatever may or may
yeah,
not have been on there, but no, fantastic image. You know, and you look at something like that, and you wonder was John did John know, did he give them suggestions on how they wanted to treat the logo? You know, because it seems so well thought out that he had to have told them, you know, this line of characters at the top, I want them to be above the logo and drop everybody else behind it. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
otherwise, it's an amazing editorial decision.
yeah, I think I can't speak for it. But yeah, it certainly looks like it was designed that way.
Mhm.
Uh, he would have. Obviously, he knows to leave the space for the corner box, and so he had the whole action above it, so he knew it was going to go into the logo.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very, very nice. And where is it at? 28.8.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, now we mentioned Kirby earlier, so you got a Kirby FF3 page. Let's see this one.
So FF3 is the earliest known book known
Is it?
to.
I wanted to ask you about that. It is, right? Because
Yeah,
they're okay.
nothing from number one or number two has ever shown up. Okay,
Mm.
I never even heard of number one appearing. I heard a rumor that there was a page from number one, but I never saw it. I don't know if it's true, and I never got an image of it. So I don't know if anything really exists. So FF3 was complete at one point, and what made this there was a lot of firsts in that book where it showed the the Baxter building and the headquarters. This was really cool to see when you were a kid and had all the little detail of where things were and how the Fantastic Four operated. So there's this building that the FF headquarters right in the middle of Manhattan with spaceships and pogo planes and you name it, and completely designed, and you see the schematic of it.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's really cool.
yeah. No, it's awesome. I mean, it's stuff like this that as a kid you always enjoyed, right? I mean,
Oh
and
yeah,
they would do that a lot in some of those history of the Marvel universe things where they would do cutaways like this. But yeah, this is awesome. And from page 3 then.
part of it was they weren't treating you like a kid.
Mm,
Like this is a little bit more serious. You know what I mean? Like a serious schematic of the building. I mean, you didn't need to do that if you were only writing the book for a 9-year-old. You know?
yeah, save this for future reference. I like that. But very, very cool page. And where are we at on that one? That one's 26.4. Well, that'd be interesting to see where that one goes.
Yeah.
David Wetzel says, nice to have an ICBM in your building. Yes.
That's what I said.
Not
In the
everybody
middle of
can
Manhattan.
have in the middle of Manhattan. Yes, exactly. Let's see, what do we got? A Bagley, Emberlin, Amazing Spider-Man 379 cover from issue from 1993. So this
Mhm.
is this is an era when I wasn't buying comics, but my goodness, what a crazy cover this thing is. You get Deathlock on top of along with all these characters. You get and Venom. I mean, how this is insane.
Yeah, it's so many villains on the same thing. You got Venom, Carnage, Doppelganger, Demo, Goblin, Deathlock, all featured on the cover, and multiple Spider-Man. Right? Is there more than one Spider-Man in there?
I think it's just the one down here getting choked out, but
Oh, okay, yeah. It looks like
you get
yeah,
Carnage and
yeah,
Venom,
yeah.
Deathlock. I don't even know who Demo Goblin is, but I must have missed out on that. I guess this is Demo Goblin here, and you got Doppelganger over there. But it's a great cover. I mean,
Yeah.
I can see why Bagley is, his Spider-Man work is so desirable. I mean, he drew it very, very well. And shoot, if this is like, what was it? Stingray said, "This is my childhood." So anybody who was a little bit younger than me reading Spidey in the '90s, I mean, Bagley is your guy, right? You get
Yeah.
a little bit of McFarlane and then a lot of Bagley.
Yeah,
So
and that's again, you go by. I'm always a little surprised by bid track and using that criteria because it shows you the number. I mean, we're not talking about just a handful of people. We're talking about a ton of people interested in this cover or interested in seeing the results. So obviously, it touches them in some way.
yep, and I had Doppelganger. Is the one who's I've got it wrong. Doppelganger choking out Spidey and Demo Goblin on the left. There you go. I've been at least I knew Carnage and Venom, guys. All right, yeah. And I knew which one was Spidey and Deathlock. But what are we on this one? Just around 26 and a half on this one. So very very cool cover. Then we have another Frank Miller story page from 166. This is very nice, again from 1980. Bought this one off the newsstands. This was, yeah. I mean,
I wasn't going to include another one, but again, it was one of the top lots. It's one of the most expensive, and it's a very different page than the other one. The other one was very cinematic and a lot of contrast and very Ronin type of page, where this is, very different. So it appealed to me.
yeah, it's really nice. Earlier in the run, of course, by a couple of years from the last page, but all Miller, dynamic. It's fantastic. And around 20, 21. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not cheap.
Nope. And then wow, a Kirby Senate FF53 page
Yeah.
for the Thing fan out there, and we know there's a few. This is really 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 well done. I mean, that first panel is fantastic. The line weight between the Thing and Johnny there is just awesome. I mean, this is fantastic. And
wow. This page, FF53. I don't know FF52 to exist. I've never seen any of the pages. I had this complete book and I had 54, and I sold both of those books. And then the guys that got them, somebody broke up 53. So this is the second appearance of Black Panther. So, and you don't have the pages from FF52. So this is a pretty historic page. Obviously, Black Panther's emerged as one of the most popular Marvel characters due to the movie. And this is where we get invited into his private quarters in his kingdom. So it's Panther begins to tell the FF's his origin story and how the Claw, was part of it. So there's a lot going on in this page developmentally, but also, because of what the character is.
Exactly. And he is lighting up a cigarette there, everybody. That's something we would not see today. But wow, yeah, that's very nice. See, and you have the history behind the issue. So this one's almost at 20,000 right now at the buyer's premium.
Yeah. And it's, of course, classic Kirby Sinnott in peak period. You're talking about a couple of issues after the whole Galactus Silver Surfer trilogy. So it just continues. You went from the Inhumans. Yes, Sinnott comes on the book, and you go from the Inhumans to Galactus Silver Surfer to Black Panther, and then you get those great books where Doctor Doom takes the power of the Silver Surfer. It's just like between issues 46 and 75 is to me the classic Kirby books. Period. His artwork, Sinnott's inking, everything was working perfectly.
Agreed. And then we have a Incredible Hulk cover from 71 with Dr. Doom on it from issue 143. Herb Trimpe.
Well, Trimpe's run on the Hulk is one of the most popular things. You talk about a whole generation of. The first thing I think Albert ever asked me about was, "Do you have any Herb Trimpe Hulk pages?" So
really, he was a Hulk fan? I had no idea.
Oh yeah, I sold him several covers. I had a bunch of Trimpe covers, and I only have one left, and I don't even remember the number. It might be 180, but yeah, and that's that run. And if I'm not mistaken, this is probably, if not the best cover, the second best, one of the best covers, because Doctor Doom with the Hulk, you just don't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, I had dinner with Albert and Jamie in Paris, which was very cool. Yeah,
while you were over there.
Yeah, he came early to. He's going to Lake Como, but he decided to spend some time in Paris. So I had lunch with him. He's doing okay. He was recovering from the surgery. He was still limping around, but we had a really good time.
Well, I know she likes to travel, and Europe is always on their list.
Yeah.
So no, that I saw some good photos because I know he went to the Marvel exhibit while he was there. So I saw some photos from that, and well, that's cool. Did you get to see any art exhibitions while you were in Paris? Was that?
There was an exhibit at the Bernard's Gallery at G9 Gallery.
Was that the John Gordon Murphy Zorro work, or was that I'm thinking of a different gallery?
He had some of that. He had it was half American art and half European art. So he has a new exhibit every 2 weeks. So
oh wow,
yeah, he does a great job. Yeah, but we also visited. We also went to Dublin. Where else did we go on this trip? Dublin and Bordeaux. So it was a really good trip.
Sounds like it. I'm envious. Let's see here. Now we've seen a few of these. The Alex Raymond Flash Gordon with the Jungle Jim Sunday, and so here's another one.
Yeah, but you don't see many 1938s.
I was going to say, what year is this? Because I don't see
this. This is 1938. We do have a 1939 from that same sequence, either the Ice Kingdom or from 39. But this is 1938, and if you look, the artwork is again a little bit different, a little bit more distinctive. Very beautiful, art of Dale. You get into the whole thing. One of the common themes was, Flash would, with his entourage, would go visit a new kingdom, and there'd always be a beautiful princess, And of course, the princess would always end up falling in love with Flash. And he, of course, never realized that she had any intentions towards him whatsoever. But Dale would see through it immediately and get jealous, and boom, we've got drama. So basically, this page is one of those pages. It's beautifully drawn, beautifully laid out, uh, and it's got a great jungle gym.
Yeah.
And you talk about impeccable taste. Nobody had better taste in Alex Raymond than Al Williamson, and this is from the Al Williamson collection.
Oh, nice.
It's never been on the market.
So what do we? We're at 18 and a half on that one. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And like I said, we have a 1930. Now, I didn't even go into a lot of the other strip art. We have a hand-colored Crazy Cat Sunday page. We have regular, a different Crazy Cat, outstanding. We have super early Gasoline Alley. I mean, there is something there for everyone when it comes to great strip art. Oh, we have a wonderful Hogarth. For a very short period of time, Hogarth, instead of doing the vertical panel page, did horizontal. And this is one of the horizontal pages. I didn't know whether I wanted to feature that or the Raymond. I mean, like I said, there's only so many things that I could cover. So I tried to be fair and go by the, the popularity and price. But yeah, look up Hogarth. Beautiful.
I was checking the Harriman first. You said there was a color one? Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's that one. Yeah, that's really nice. I'll check the Hogarth too, but I love Harriman's work, especially when you get a color piece. Yes, it's really nice. Wow.
Now, this is another one I think new to the market and it has soiling on it, so it needs to have a little work done, I think. But it's a great page. Certainly hand colored by Harriman.
Well, there's some restorers out there these days that can take care of things like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't check out the Hogarth too.
So you were happy with the person that did your restoration? You said that you had gotten a couple of pages from a restorer.
Yeah. I actually had when I was at Heroes this weekend, I had somebody give me a piece of art to show to them too. Since I could just always mail it to the collector if he decided not to have the work done. But something had a fair amount of water damage. That more, not that it affected the art, but the paper was rather warped and had a little bit of staining here or there. So yeah, there's this woman lives like 10 miles from me, and she's a world-class conservator. So and her focus primarily is on on conservation and restoration, of course. But for her, it's like she wants to make sure the art's going to last for another 300 or 400 years, right? So she looks at things as if she wants to deacidify things. She wants to make sure that that those things are taken care of before any kind of.
That's the way to go. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And for her, she always, when she looks at stuff, she loves the art for how it looks today. Like if it has a little bit of tanning or something, she'd rather not go. She doesn't want to turn it back to white. It's nice to see a little bit of age and patina in the artwork. So she approaches things in a really interesting way. But yeah, if anybody in the audience, or if you ever wanted her contact information, I'm happy to pass it along. I mean, she did a very good job for me.
Send it to me. I'll I have a couple of pieces that I was thinking of sending down. But also, I'm asked all the time by collectors, especially when it comes to, logos and glue stains and stuff like that.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, I'll pass it along after the show.
Yeah, look at this bit.
Wow. Yeah, I really like Hogarth's work during this era. I mean, that panel's amazing.
And this comes directly from the family.
Wow. That's great that they still have pieces after all this time.
Yeah.
And good for them. All right. Well, let's see. What else do we have here that you picked? We have a Mazzucchelli Daredevil. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, Daredevil as a title had a lot of great artists on it.
Yeah, I mean,
Look at this.
once, yeah. To me, I never realized they went from one phase to another. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
today, they say, well, he went to the, this grittier phase. I don't even remember what they call it, but it's uh, the whole Hell's Kitchen and Fisk but so many guys, from Frank Miller to Casada to Mazzucchelli to on and on. I mean, John Romita Jr.
mm.
Just great stuff, and he's unbelievably popular. At one point, Daredevil was one of the least popular characters.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if I went back and read maybe the 50 books leading up to that, I mean, they weren't fantastic. Uh, I love the Colin art period, of Daredevil, but yeah, the stories weren't as impactful. And Alberto, just he's lamenting the fact that there's not enough Captain America in your selections this evening, Joe.
I think he was mad at me last time. Wasn't he mad at me because I didn't feature a Mike Zeck cover? Was
I
it
think
him?
so. I think so.
And
Yes,
he was right. That went for a lot of money, but you
it
know what I
did.
mean. You got to. I have no problem if you want to see a particular thing to
Mhm.
recommend it. I'll put it on the list.
All right, Alberto. By the end of the show, we'll do a search for Captain America. We'll see what's out there. But that's always never good for you because it's just gonna put more eyeballs on stuff that you love. But it's okay. We don't want to. We want to make sure that everybody is catered to this evening. So we have a David Lloyd V for Vendetta page. These are always just amazing to see because Lloyd's style throughout was very unique, very stark, and
Film noir to the nth degree, and you know what? That mask, you see that all over the place. At Halloween, and I mean protests.
that's
Uh,
Jinx, right?
Listen, never a lack of. When we were in Paris, they were protesting everything. I don't even know what the heck, but they're always protesting everything, and
Mhm.
there's always people in those masks.
But yeah, these are nice. They don't come up too often. I mean, anybody who has them and is a fan of the story, they'll hold on to these pages. So this one's at 12 and a half right now at the buyer's premium, but just beautiful, beautiful work here. A lot of dry brush work on it as well. Just so fitting for the story.
And it's an important page. This is a classic VMAS panel. There's no word balloons to obscure anything, but it features Delilah Surridge haunted by her role in creating V. Her fiery, nightmarish visions make for an incredibly atmospheric page. I agree. And then in the end, she's killed by V. Yeah, it's a very dramatic page.
Yeah, I agree. And it's at, like I said, it's at 12 and a half, which is fair to say we'll go higher. Then we have a Milo Manera. Now, see, I'm not familiar with this cover at all. Savage Wolverine #2. You get Shanna on it. And
Because this is an American, this is one of the few things that he did for an American comic book. So this is a color. We had auctioned a Spider Woman cover some time ago, which was in color painting, and this is one of the only other ones. But this is a sexy Manara, Shanna, the She Devil. I mean, even though this is Savage Wolverine #2, it's really a She Devil cover. Uh, Beautiful T Rex in the background, beautiful work that you can uh, you could put on the wall. I mean, our cataloger who loves Manara says, quite simply the most lovely piece of Milo Manara's work we've ever seen.
Yeah, we don't need no stinking Wolverine on this cover. Not when Monera's doing the artwork on it. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. It really is, and you get a little dinosaur in the back. I mean, which is nice. But no, this is fantastic, and yeah, it is killer, says Dean Kramer. Yeah, I agree. What do we add on this one? 11,000 on that. So yeah, very, very, very nice.
Here's another example of something from Roger's collection. I mean, this is the art for the house ad that appeared in every, EC comic. The Jack Davis, isn't that? Yeah, the Jack Davis Crypt of Terror #1 house ad. Where you mailed in to subscribe. Yeah, you just don't see this stuff.
No, this is great Jack Davis work here too. With all with the Frankenstein in the back there, Wolfman, the Mummy. Yeah, this is fun.
And the interesting part about this appeared in Piracy #1 and was meant for a Crypt of Terror, which is different than Tales from the Crypt. So it was going to be a new title, but they never did it. Before all of the titles were canceled.
Yeah, no, it's great here. I'm gonna appease Alberto in the audience. He wants to see the Byrne wraparound cover, so I'll just do a quick search and we'll find it.
Oh, that's in the.
Is that?
I think that's one of the featured items. Is that it right there? Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. Ha ha. Why I'm laughing? I had that as one of the pieces, but it barely didn't make the. You see the price is $6,250.
Oh yeah.
So I would have had to bump something that was higher priced. So this was the only piece that I think out of the platinum that I left off. I apologize.
Well, there you go, Alberto. This is it's a fantastic image from what is it, 1990? Yeah, 1990.
No, it's a nice piece. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if it's a typical Byrne art, which was another thing. I said, yeah. If somebody just showed that to me, I don't know if I would have said that was John Byrne at first glance, but it's a beautiful wraparound cover.
Yeah, this is all John, right? Yeah. Well, him inking himself is always, you never know. I mean, his style is always a little different on himself. And I see, Chuck Arnold mentioned that I think that's what I heard. The show that Benno helped put together was he mentions apparently there's a great Jack Davis exhibition in New York City right now at the.
Oh, there is one. That's true.
That's Benno, and I forget who the other gentleman was that curated that, but that sounded really interesting.
Yes, because Grant Geisman, the great Mad collector and EC, the author of 5 different books and everything, he was up at the Mad exhibit, and he was there, and then he's coming back for that show, which I think is either this coming week or it started. I'm not sure, but he was coming back into town for that. So yes, you're right.
Thanks.
Yeah, this Thursday. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
All right. So where are we at with this one? Like you said, it's at 7,500 with the buyer's premium. It's it'll go substantially higher than that.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
All right. I'm not sure why I got all these retries on here. Probably because I opened too many windows at a time when I was going through and opening up your pieces. But a refresh fixes it. So what do we got? Bernie writes in.
When you get a Frankenstein plate, you got to feature it. I mean, look at the work on this.
There we go. Yeah, look at that. That is just. I didn't look at the detail of this image when I was going through everything earlier today. That's just amazing. I mean, how the idea of just the direction of the line. I mean, we've seen this in other Frankenstein plates too. I mean, I think you had the one where they were on a ship. I don't know if that was the last auction or not, but similar thought process by Bernie in terms of how he wanted to lay down the textures for the art. As as an artist myself, I don't understand, his approach, but it's just absolutely amazing. Things are so coarse, yet but well defined. You know what all
It
these
took him
things are.
7 years. People don't realize he worked at the peak of his career. He just stopped and worked on this for 7 years and started doing these plates before he even had a commitment to publish it. It was his dream to do the literal book, the Mary Shelley book, and create illustrations for the whole book as if it was being published today. You know what I'm saying? Interior illustrations. And he got somebody to do it, obviously, and then he tells a great story of how he got Stephen King to write the foreword for the book as well, because Stephen King, while he was working on this, reached out to him and was doing Creepshow and wanted Bernie to do a comic book that would come out in conjunction with the movie. And he asked Bernie, Bernie had to stop everything he was doing to work on that. And he says, is there anything I could do for you since you're doing me this favor? And Bernie said, if you could write the foreword for me, we'd be square.
Oh, yeah. This is amazing.
I mean, look at the work on this. I mean, look,
I know. Let's look at. I'd see the handle here on the door. That it's just so subtle, yet it's there, and yeah, it's amazing. I saw Stingray, or the Stingray, mentioning, it'd be really amazing to, or no, it's number one Marvel fan saying this would be amazing to watch it being done. If it could have only had kind of a process shots like we see a lot of artists do these days. Yeah, that would be pretty amazing. And of course, we miss out on that opportunity to seeing him at his craft.
And after he finished this, he never could do that art. I mean, he said he had to it took him so long to get in the mode to do that once he stopped, he couldn't go back and do it anymore. Mm-hmm. So it was really a work of love. Here's another Roger Hill, but this is Al Feldstein. I mean, this is one of the best Feldstein horror covers, period.
That's awesome.
And this is where I was telling you, the vignettes for the three ghouls, that's the original art. So that's the art that then appears on all the other EC horror covers.
Wow. No, that is amazing.
Classic line there. He's looking there. Nothing to see here. Look out behind you.
Oh man, kids had it made back in the day, getting to read stuff like this. This is 1950. Wow. Yeah, this is a good one to have picked, and around 18 right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an EC fan, or if you're not an EC fan, but you want a representative example, you got to get something out of this auction. I mean, it's just no way around it. If you're a person that enjoys the history of the medium and early fans, Roger. There's an EC checklist, a legendary EC checklist that was written in 1955 that's extremely rare. Roger has the first edition in it, signed. I think he's got a couple of copies as well. And that was done in 1955. Think of doing a comic book checklist as early as 1955. But it was done for EC Comics.
Well, thank goodness, right? At the end of the day, that somebody... early on realized that they didn't do it, you might be missing out years later. So yeah, this is it's wise that they did that. But yeah, this is a fantastic image. Yeah.
When I was with Albert, I said, how come you weren't on the review? He goes, are you going to do the next one? He says, tell Bill, next. That's my favorite thing. And then he doesn't do next.
Yeah,
You're an ingrate. You're an
yeah,
ingrate.
poor Albert. Albert's going to be on. He's going to be on a Dueling Dealers episode next Wednesday. Actually,
Oh, okay.
he's going to go up against Anthony. So if you want, if your Wednesday night is clear, just for some entertainment value, just picture Albert and Anthony on camera together, trying to outsell the other one.
Oh my
That
God.
I hope everybody brings their popcorn, because I'm sure it's going to be an interesting evening. They could sell nothing.
Speaking of
and it will be an
reviews, you know who
interesting
told me
evening.
to say hello to you is Dan Poddick. We talked to Dan several times over the last few weeks, and I complimented him on the great job that he did in the review when you had him on. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Dan did a great job filling in one time when we couldn't get some people.
He said he's available anytime. So
I I haven't even lined up the recap for next week. I'll have to. I better do it now. We'll see if Albert wants to go on. Like the night after his match. I mean, if he's in a good mood, he might. But all right, I'll do that. But Dan did do a great job when we had him on before too. And of course, we've done I don't know if you've seen him, but we've done a few episodes where Dino has kind of
I like what Dino did. Yeah, I thought that was good.
Those comparisons. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like similar price, different art. Why?
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice take on it. Nothing wrong with trying something different.
Yeah. So what do we got here for something different?
My only complaint is sometimes there's, a piece goes for a super record in the auction and then it's never even, brought
Agreed.
up. I would think that it might be noteworthy when a Frazetta goes for $6 million or something, but or a comic book, the all-time highest price ever, type of thing. But
yeah, you guys have been doing all right the last few signature auctions.
The last auction, I mean, I don't think it was mentioned. The last signature at $28 million, the biggest auction in history.
It was, and this upcoming one is your 100th, right? Your 100th signature auction.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah.
I get it though. It was the biggest signature auction that you guys have ever had. That's true. Yeah. I'm dropping the ball a little bit on my recaps, Joe. We'll have. I promise you, we'll have a good one this next one.
Okay.
Let's deliver another record-setting signature.
I can't get anybody. I'll have to do the recap as well.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here we go. We've got a Tuska, Billy Graham, Hero for Hire, issue 1.
It's because it's the first appearance of Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Again, historic. This is the first story page that we've ever sold from Luke Cage's first appearance. Yeah. Carl Lucas is released from Seagate Prison, and this is the very first page of the story in his very first appearance. That's pretty cool.
So this is it is. It's page 2 from issue 1.
Yeah.
Very nice. There's a Tuska page I wouldn't mind owning.
Yeah. I wish they'd bring back some of those miniseries. Now that Disney's been struggling, and you'd think that they would release the rights to some of these things. No more Luke Cage, no Iron Fist, no Daredevil, those were really fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, the Daredevil was always probably my favorite. Well, can't say it's my favorite. It was so well done, right? The acting was great. The writing was fantastic in it. Yeah. And the Luke Cage one was very good too. So what do we got here? We have a Ron Friends, Tom Palmer, Star Wars 80 cover. And you got Darth Vader.
I just wanted to do a couple of representations from the Palmer collection. Here, Palmer worked on Star Wars for a long time. He's one of the most noteworthy artists on the run. And here, sometimes he penciled, sometimes he inked. So here's a Ron Friends Palmer Star Wars cover. Beautiful Darth Vader, big image. And of course, one of the most popular collaborations on Star Wars was with Walt Simonson, and the next page is a Simonson Palmer Star Wars page, and we have several of those pages in the sale.
Let's see what we got here. Wow. Yeah, that's
you don't see much Walt Simonson art out there, so.
boy, that is nice.
Yeah, and this one features Luke, Leia, Chewie, C-3PO, and R2-D2. Stormtroopers, classic Simonson action, detailed, intense.
What is she? 52. Okay,
Yeah.
81. No,
you don't see those come. You never see those come up.
No, not at all. And I assume, these are noted, right? Yeah, from the Tom Palmer collection. Okay.
Yeah. So if you put that in the description, in the search, you'll get all the pages that are from. And every week we're selling probably 10 pages of different things from the Palmer collection.
Got it.
There's a Gil Kane, Tom Palmer, Doc Savage cover is the next one.
Here, let's do that. Now, this is from 73. Wow.
Really nice Gil Kane layout. I mean, look at that. Beautifully drawn hand. Really a nice page.
Yeah, I like that one. What year did Palmer break into comics? I'm trying to remember myself, but I may have to Google it. Tom Palmer, his first work was. Somebody in that chat will probably know. Before
I would think the late 60s. He was working in illustration. He was a very talented guy. He worked in illustration and never left, really. He was doing jobs as an illustrator as he was working in comics. That's why he was such a sought-after inker, because he could draw. So he could make other people and difficult artists like, Gene Colan and Adams make their, who left a lot, to your imagination as far as the shading.
Mm-hmm.
He could interpret it and do a great job.
Well, this is a great image.
So what did it say? When is his first?
Well, it's funny. I ended up on Wikipedia, and it talks about him being an illustrator, and a lot of illustration output in the 60s, but it doesn't state when his first comic book work happened.
Yeah.
When I'm going through here. Yeah. I would have thought that would have been like the first thing I'd be able to read when he broke into comics. It does not state it.
And there's probably a bibliography below after this. In Wiki, but
Yeah. I just don't want to read it while we're getting through here, but we'll.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm sure someone in the chat. Come on, everybody! You can do it while you can Google it while we're doing this interview. I want to know, when was Tom's first comic book work? What was it? That would be nice to know.
Thank you for buying that piece, Chuck. Chuck Arnold said he bought a Byrne Palmer piece last week.
Oh, cool! Congrats, Chuck. Chuck's been on a buying spree. He's been picking up a lot of good artwork of late. Next up. Oh. I've always enjoyed this cover. Jack Kirby, Vince Galetta, Thor 157 from 1968, the year I was born, Joe.
Wow. Me too.
I mean, you remember you can see this, and you can remember the published cover, right? The reds are red. I mean, it's just such a striking cover. I can only imagine what that thing looked like on the newsstand when when a kid was picking that thing up and buying it. I mean, how could you not want to like read that book?
Well, and this was the first time when I read this book that I don't know if they ever talked about Ragnarok before this, but that was the first time it came to my attention that Ragnarok was something important. And now the TV series is around this, and Walt Simonson's all about that, and it became the primary storyline for a very long time. The Marvel movies.
Yeah, no, this is amazing, and it's at 19 right now, but yeah, it's gonna do a whole lot better than that. And then Coletta. I always felt like Coletta on Kirby with Thor as a title. He always tended to do a bit more work on it. This is beautiful. And Chuck Arnold is telling us that Tom Palmer's first comic work was actually penciling, and it was in 1968 for what is it, Strange 171? That's what I'm reading closely.
Strange, Doctor Strange, right?
I assume, yeah. Huh.
So that was with two good guesses, right? He 1968, and he was an illustrator first.
Yeah, spot on. Came in with that intent. But yeah,
as far as not having a lot, I talked to Walt Simonson about those Star Wars pages, and he remembers those fondly. So I mean, he would have told me if he didn't do much work on those pages.
Chuck says he inked Gene Colan the next issue.
Yeah.
That was probably what was normal for him after that.
Yeah.
Whoops, wrong one there. Here we go. So we have a Rob Liefeld Deadpool.
It's not one. It's
5.
It's 5 covers. It's the 5 covers, all 5 covers from Liefeld Deadpool, Bad or Blood. So Rob sent me these covers and wanted them done individually. And then he said, you know what? The movie's going to come out. I think they should go all together. I want them to stay together. Pull them and put them all together in one lot. So somebody's going to get a chance to get 5 really good Liefeld covers in one lot. And this is with the movie coming out, this summer.
Yeah, San Diego Comic-Con weekend.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine.
So, well, there you go. 5 covers. It's at $7,800 with the buyer's premium right now.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Next up, Jerry Robinson.
And you get in those covers, you get Spider-Man, you get Cable, you get a lot of characters.
Did I miss Cable now? I probably did. Yeah, Wolverine, Spidey. Yeah. No, I mean, Rob's. So he sent these in though. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no Cap. Sorry, Alberto. Cap was not featured in those.
He only featured primary characters.
Poor Alberto.
And listen, and you're talking to a guy who's got. I have the model sheets, the original model sheets from Captain America. I have the original art for the first ad ever from Captain America that was in the stores. From
really?
From when Captain America 2 was in the stores. I have the unpublished cover to Captain America 7. I have a Captain America Tales of Suspense cover. I have the Fighting American Captain America, the origin pages in full color. So I've got everything Captain America. So I kid him.
Alberto's going to be asking you for a tour.
I was a big Captain America. I'm a big Captain America fan, and I'm sure I have many other things. Stuntman was a version of Captain America. I have the complete art to the complete origin. All stuff like that.
Alberto says you're trying to keep all the caps to yourself. Oh boy, that's funny. All right, so what do we got here? Jerry Robinson, and this is from Batman 14 from 19.
Florida won't hurt him. Laugh out loud. Trump be president by then. We'll clean it up.
I have no idea what number 1 Marvel fan.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Tom, you'll have to let us know.
And if Trump's president, I think I'm going to be living in Paris for
For 4 years.
for 4 years exactly.
But here we have a page that's still around from 1943.
Yeah,
So
an
80,
original Jerry Robinson. This is one of the earliest known Batman pages that still exist, and it's got Batman and Robin in several panels in action. Great page.
yeah, 81 years old. That's amazing. See, there's no way that somebody didn't do some, conservatory sort of work on here to make sure that this page isn't gonna, it's gonna last for a long time. It still looks pretty clean. I mean, it's a very nice page.
I've seen pages from early Batman pages, obviously from the Jerry Robinson collection, and none of those pages were worked on.
That's great.
So a lot of them were just stored correctly. Now, Jerry, some of the covers were not. They were in a very hot environment. Bristleboard, the core was the cover is 100% cotton, and the back is high quality, but the middle was cheap chipboard, which
Sure.
yeah. So a lot of times those covers you have to have the cover peeled off the front and a new backer put on.
Interesting. Yeah, that's you need somebody with some skills to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got here. Next up is Basil Gogos.
Now,
Amazing.
This is interesting because this is his first cover for Famous Monsters of Filmland. If you look at the cover of number 3, it looks like Gogos, but it's not. It was done by Jim Warren himself. This is the first Gogos cover. This is Vincent Price from the Fall of the House of Usher.
What year is this? 1960.
Yeah.
Dang. Never got to meet Basil, but I heard he was just a genuinely really, really nice man.
Yeah, I met him several times. He's a very nice guy. I don't know where he came up with these images because it didn't seem like that, but yeah, he was a horror fan. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His sense of his palette and his use of color was fantastic. It's like the James Bomber, but he wasn't afraid to use. I mean, look at the colors in that face.
Yeah, no, I mean it's you can't tell me that like Sienkiewicz didn't wasn't familiar with Gogos, right? I mean, just in the some of the stylings here and the color choices, yeah. And I mean, he was one of my I read a lot of the famous monster books growing up, and yeah, he always painted a darn good cover for those.
Like that color sensibility predates Frazetta, because Frazetta would always do those kind of touches. So maybe he never mentioned it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't a little influenced by him as well, because Frazetta did love horror.
Well, that's beautiful. And again, what was it at? It's still reasonable. It's at 8,100 right now.
Yeah.
Then we've got a Ditko Iron Man. No Ditko Captain America. Only Ditko Iron Man here. Tales of Suspense, 48 page. And let's see this one in more detail.
This is a good one because not only is it Ditko, but this is where Spider-Man had the gold armor, right? And then realizes that the gold armor was too clunky, and Ditko. They brought in Ditko to redesign the armor. So this is him creating the new lightweight modern suit, and that's why he's in every panel. I mean, this is a great page.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And it's Steve Ditko.
Yeah. Number one Marvel fan says this would display well with his screen used armor set. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would. Let's see here. So what do we got? Reed Crandall. We don't talk about Reed Crandall enough on the channel. So this is from Modern Comics 62 from 1947.
Well, you don't talk much about Reed Crandall because his art is extremely rare.
Right. Yeah.
It just doesn't come up, and especially his Black Hawk art. In Roger's book, I think there's maybe 3 covers pictured, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 4 exist, maybe 3 exist. I have one of them. He borrowed one of mine for it, but this is his cover. And I mean, look at that line. Look at the anatomy. You know, we often in episodes past we've talked about, you know, the most influential Golden Age artists, and people point to Will Eisner and Lou Fine and Jack Kirby. And when it comes to anatomy, it was Reed Crandall. He was the guy that was Buscema and Adams before you know they came into it. So he was the guy that was really admired for his ability to do the human form. I mean, and beautiful inking, beautiful layouts. So these just don't come up. And Roger had this cover forever. It's featured in the Reed Crandall book, obviously. They're rare. He's one of the top Golden Age and most influential artists, and here's a cover from 1947.
Yeah.
So what else is included there? Could you go to the next picture? It says 3 items. I'm curious what else is in there.
Let's see. Not sure. What is the next one? I guess there's only 2.
Okay.
Or did I read it wrong? You're right. It does say 3 items in the title, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why does it say that? Attack. I'm not sure. That might be a typo.
Yeah.
But no, fantastic. And I saw Chuck mentions that Dave Stevens had to look a little bit at Crandall's work, you know, in a way. And but you can see a lot of it.
Are you sure? You could maybe you should look at the next item.
Dave Stevens, yes. You've structured this preview well. So what do we have? This is from the Rocketeer Special Edition number 1, page 10, 1984. Yeah. Zoom in on
Take a look at that Dave Stevens art, and you compare it to Crandall's, then you definitely see the influence.
Oh, of course. Yeah, without question.
So these pages don't come up often. Rocketeer, rich, detailed illustrations, lush line work, remarkable, technical expertise by Dave. This was his, ultimate work. This is the Rocketeer, in during a test flight, and the plane goes crazy, and he's got to figure out how to land it. And he's got the iconic helmet on, of course.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Yeah, I have a feeling there'll be a lot of bidding activity on this one in the lead up to this one closing. It's great. It's really nice. Wow. Yeah. You're right, Chuck. It is great. What do we got here? A Kirby Stone X-Men 11 page from 65.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple. We have a page from 8. We have a page from 11. There's some really other nice Kirby pages as well. I picked this because I know you're an X-Men fan, and Kirby, even though he didn't make your list, I have to talk about Kirby Chick Stone.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you didn't forget that bit of history, Joe.
And of course, you've got the iconic Cyclops losing his glasses, of course, and you know,
he was such a klutz back then. Uh,
nearly killed the cop and everybody else, and has to be saved by the Beast.
Thank God the Beast was there. Yeah, I mean this page has, but look, see, well, what's the price? It's only priced at 5,400 right now. Why does Kirby's early X-Men art not have the value that his other? I mean, it has nothing to do with it. I'm about my top 5. I mean, one of my favorite all-time issues of early X-Men is the next issue, issue 12. But I don't know. I've never understood it. But yes, I see a page like this, and maybe it should have been in my top 6 at the very least.
Hey, this is going to be one of those situations where 10 years from now you're going to say, I really wish I'd taken Joe's advice. Heritage had these pages, and they were going for a fraction of what John Byrne's pages were, or any of the myriad of other X-Men artists' pages were, and I passed it up, and now they're going for $1 million.
Yes. Well, when they hit 1 million, I'll be in trouble. I will definitely lament passing on them when they were, when you could get one for around 10 or a great page for around 25 or whatnot. I love it. Marcus says Kirby didn't do that much for X-Men, only created them. I get it, everybody. And yeah, being a Cyclops fan, this certainly would be a page for me. So, but yeah, issue 12 is just one of my all-time favorite X-Men stories, and the art was great in it, everything. But this
Barry, you talked about Barry Sandoval. He sent me an email to Nadia and I. He said, you only moved to where you did because you're right near where the Professor X's mansion is.
Oh, that's funny. That's true. Yeah. Let's see here. So this is a good page. Definitely, I know it will go for higher than wherever it's at right now. $5,400. Yeah, it's gonna go. It's gonna do well. And then maybe I will. Maybe I'll throw. I've never put a bid in a signature auction before, Joe. Maybe
wow.
I'll put it in here just to feel like I'm in the game on this one.
Yeah. So and if you get it, you could give us other artwork to auction, and you won't even have to put your hand in your pocket.
I like that idea. Let's see here. What do we got? It looks like we have 3 tabs left open. So next up is, wow, this is huge. This is Bagley John Dell.
Yeah, even though it's not exactly my generation, how could I not put up? This has 300 mutants over 6 different pieces, all put together. Every mutant that ever appeared in a Marvel comic.
What year was this done?
2019.
Huh. Wow. Where's Jason D'Ambrosio when we need him? This page was made for him. I mean, or these pages were made for him. You'd have to have a really large wall to put this up on. But I mean, this shouldn't be something that you'd leave in your portfolio. Wow.
How insane is this? And go in tight. Every little.
I can't. I'm at 100% right now. That's where I'm at. I can see Cyclops though. He's standing proud. But yeah, shoot. This is amazing.
It's an insane piece of art. I don't know how after he did this, he was willing to sell it.
Yeah. Oh, this is really, really nice. And again, inked by John Dell. It's a really great inker. But yeah, this is a fun piece. Just discovering all the characters that are in here while I'm going through it is pretty cool. And you get to see characters from Grant Morrison's run even through in here. This is nice. Huh. Yeah. Well, that's going to make some X-Men fan very happy. $4,200 on this one.
Yeah.
Then a beautiful Jeff Jones piece.
This is again from that same collector, the friend of mine that had the Spider-Man 10 and the Hawkman, here's his example of the studio. Jeff Jones. This is from Game of Thrones, a song of ice and fire, painting.
And that's lovely.
So you
What's
get
the
a
size
piece of
on
the
it?
Game of Thrones, you get a Jeff Jones, and we have a really nice Jeff Jones Tarzan painting in the auction as well, if I recall.
Now you're gonna make me look. It's, we have to refresh on it. Let's see if we can get it up there. That's not in alphabetical order. Usually it'd have isn't it usually where it pops up with
Yeah, but I mean, one of these might be platinum, and that's why they're not.
Oh, that makes sense.
One might be in platinum, one might not. So you got to be careful of that when you're bidding. They're not all in alphabetical order because you got the platinum items come up first.
Right. Let's see.
There you go. Right after. Yep, right there.
Oh, yeah, the Tarzan. Undated Tarzan. Yeah, no, very nice piece as well. I have a little pen and ink piece by Jeffrey Jones.
Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. No, he was, it's very stylized art.
I think if I ever was like, if I had a wish list item, I'd probably be like one of those I'm Age pieces, right? I mean, those were just, I don't know.
Well, how about his idol pages? Those are beautiful.
Idol too. Yeah, you're right.
Nadia, we knew Jeff, and Nadia would like to have a nice painting of a woman of in some sort. It's just hard to find one that's not quite idol, but nice. We're looking for something.
Well, we're ending our preview show with a Kelly Jones Sandman page from 1990.
Yeah.
Going on this one here.
We've talked about Sandman so many times, and now, of course, we're running out of pages. At one auction, we had about 19 pages. Now we're down, I think we only have either this one or maybe two, but I'm not even sure. Really good page with a real good shot of him there. Kelly Jones, beautiful. It's a beautiful atmospheric page, and they're super hot. So, we had to include it. Neil Gaiman, anything Neil Gaiman is hot.
Yeah, no, this is great. I love that second panel. This is very nice Kelly Jones page. And yeah, we had that. You're right. There was like it was a glut, but there was a period with just a lot of great Sandman pieces coming out during the pandemic or late in the pandemic. But yeah, this is another nice piece. Really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'll see who I get in for a recap. I promise you, it won't if we can get Albert's he's usually game if he's not out having dinner with his wife. He's usually happy to sit in on a recap. I can't get Berkey to do it anymore. I don't know why. I think he got burned out on him, but yeah, I'll definitely plan on one. More than likely, it'll happen on the CAF update the week after next.
Well, it's got to be the week after now. I mean, the auction's the 20th. So.
Yep, exactly. So we will. I'm planning ahead. I just know I have a busy. I think next week my only open day is Monday, but nobody wants to do a recap on Monday because it usually takes a couple of days to kind of figure out what pieces people want to talk about. So Monday's too early. But yeah, we will definitely do it on Thursday next week. So yeah, plenty of good stuff in this one, Joe.
Oh yeah, this one's loaded. Another one that's just loaded. I mean, this whole auction could have just been Roger Hill with the amount of stuff that he had. But there's literally something here for everybody. It's one of those sales.
I agree.
Yeah, I could have gone on for another whatever. I mean, normally I stop at 40. I couldn't stop at 40, so I went to 45.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But
Or
we,
hey, the
we
more
did it in 2 hours, which is fine.
exactly. Um, well, I've got some research to do. I want to check out that exhibition at in Europe. That's
The
really
Pompidou
really
Center, yeah.
Pompidou Center. Okay, it's written down on here. It is on this notepad.
Get some, put out the word, and maybe somebody will send you a video of it or something. That would be
I'd
cool.
love to see that. I just can't imagine. But it makes a lot of sense. If you're not putting the narrative arts up against fine arts, people will never. It's just going to take longer to view. So it's a smart whoever curated that exhibition and concept for them. I mean, very wise for them to do that. So yeah, I want to see it. Hopefully, we can get somebody over there to take some photographs and shoot some video, if they'd allow it. Or maybe I should just contact them directly, see if they couldn't send me some things. They've had to have done some of their own promotional material,
Sure.
video. Yeah, you know what? That's not even a bad idea. You know that. Okay. But
The Rockwell, the Mad exhibit, they did a lot of video and photographs. They had 2 professional photographers there during the opening, so they must have material that they would certainly like to share.
I'm going to reach out to them, and I'm going to reach out to the Society of Illustrators too.
Yeah.
We have all of a sudden we have all these exhibitions that I'm not going to be able to get to, but yeah, no, that's great. Well, Joe, say hi to Nadia.
I will.
I'm sure. Well, she may not be watching right now, but tell her.
Oh no, she's watching.
We would love to have her back on sometime.
I told her, why don't you come out and talk about Roger Hill? No, then they'll make me stay.
Well, tell her maybe next show she can pop on for at least half hour. Have her pick a few of the lots that she really wants to talk about. I love those earlier shows that we had when she was your wingman.
Well, she is what she is, my right-hand person. She's
exactly.
Remember, look at the titles in Heritage. She's a senior director. Mm-hmm. I'm only the director. It's a big difference.
Well, the more the reason why we need her back. I mean, I understand ever since the move. I mean, it was a lifestyle change, but yeah, I'd love to have Nadia back on here if she has the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, we'll see how things go. I mean, I guarantee you we'll definitely have a good recap lined up for next week for this. And
I didn't even. I'm looking at myself. I just realized, in honor of Roger Hill, I took out. That's the Frazetta splash page of Creepy #1 of the famous werewolf story. That was the last work he ever did in comics.
Dang.
That's a devastatingly nice piece.
It's no Captain America, but it is. No, I mean, that's beautiful. Man, one day, have you loaned your stuff to gallery shows and exhibitions?
Oh yeah. There, up there. Look, there's a Captain America up there, right? Can you see that?
Which one? Here, I'll zoom over to there.
Up at the top.
Up at the top.
There, right there in the middle. That's the unpublished cover of Captain America 7.
See, Alberto, there is cap art in this room.
And you see that Pope piece up on the wall? That's the first Zorro cover ever, and that's the cover of Black Mask Detective #1, 1934.
Dang. You and Nadia have one of the best OA collections in the country, Joe. You know that.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm sure you do. With your knowledge, I'm sure you know that there's a few others, but still, I mean, from the ones that we get to see, I mean, that's and knowing some of the stuff that you have and the artists that you've worked with in the past, I mean, you do have a very enviable collection.
Thank you.
So, all right, well, we'll be, pay attention to the channel next week for the recap. I think everybody knows the auction starts on Thursday, runs through Saturday.
Yeah.
And
12 o'clock Central on Thursday for comics. Friday is art the whole day, and then Sunday is the marathon.
Exactly. So that's the day where it's gonna run long, but but it's worth it definitely
Yeah.
to hang out through it. I know I'll be the thing is I love the art, the Friday piece, or it used to be the Thursday piece. I love just watching that live. It's always fun, but again, it's going to be an exciting weekend for everybody who's got some pieces in here, either consigned or looking to pick up for themselves. But again, thank you, Joe, for doing this. I appreciate it, and everybody for
Thank
hanging
you for
out with
having
me.
us.
You got it.
That's
Well,
wonderful.
have a wonderful night, and everybody enjoy your rest of your evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow night. And I've got another.